Estás viendo Canal América, televisión dominicana para el mundo.
A Time for Truth show is sponsored by the office of Dr. Bernard Fialkoff, a periodontal, dental implant and laser specialist in New York City for over 40 years. Dr. Fialkoff was honored by the International College of Dentists and Pierre Fauchard, and received the Presidential Lifetime Humanitarian Honor from the White House. Call us at 718-229-3838.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard, you don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart, yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your fears.
Welcome back to A Time for Truth show. It's a pleasure to share time with you again tonight. I'm your host, Dr. Bernard Fialkoff. And welcome to that space, that special time where you can actually find out what's positive, what's creating, what's constructive, and how to avoid the stress and the pitfalls that can occur in today's crazy world. We have so much positive. At the same time, you can fall prey to scams, to hacking, to the AI. So let's take a look at what we can do to live better, live happier, live more natural. And first, I want to let you know, because many of you have been asking, how do I become a member? It's very simple. Go on YouTube, click A Time for Truth show, as you see there on the screen. Click on the subscribe button. There's no fee, there are no charges, there's no requirements. We just ask you to use the information and let's help make a better world. That's the purpose of this show, A Time for Truth. And tonight, we're going to cover something that's important to look at, because our world has become technologically advanced, but sometimes we go a lot into materialism, and we lose ourselves as human beings. And what really, if the secret to feeling calmer, happier, and more energized isn't found in a pill, in a liquid elixir, some secret discovery, a cigarette, or some kind of stimulant. What if there's a different answer? You're going to like this show. Very interesting, because when you investigate the evolution of mankind and our bodies already produce natural chemicals that boost mood, our motivation, and well-being. And, you know, we have who we are. We're the driver. And then we have this nice, shiny new car with all kinds of technological boosters. That's our body. And in between, we have all that fancy control center, computer, and technological switching. Our mind, our brain, our central nervous system. And so we can use all what we have already inherently in this unbelievable entity that we have as a human being, and use the natural hormones that exist and pathways that already exist to boost mood, motivation, and well-being. And how is this? Well, you see it there on the screen. In yellow, dopamine. In a reddish, endorphins. And in the green, endocannabinoids, the body's own feel-good messengers. And you go, that's interesting. So you say we have morphine in our bodies already. Yes, that's what endorphins means. Endogenous or within the body morphines exist already. Cannabinoids, endocannabinoids. Again, endo within. Cannabinoids. You don't need to smoke marijuana. You have your own natural marijuana in your body already, naturally there. Endocannabinoid. And dopamine. You don't need to be doped off. You have your own dopamine in your central nervous system. They allow you to feel positive, energized, motivated. And today we're going to explore these ways of feeling better, of reducing stress. And God knows, because I'm a New York City person like you are, New York City has some high stress. And improve our health, because who wants to feel tired? Who doesn't want to feel positive and energized? All of us. So there you see on the screen the three systems. And the dopamine is associated with motivation, with reward, with drive, with focus, anticipation. In fact, it's very interesting because you feel that dopamine most strongly when you're pursuing a goal. Some people say, well, I can't wait to be done. But you know, when you're done, the dopamine won't be as high. So you're not going to feel the same. Yet that rush that you feel when you're in the middle of something that maybe is almost impossible, you're pursuing a goal. And that's going to energize you. In fact, a man named Hubbard said that happiness is the, pursuing of a goal beyond not unknowable obstacles and achieving that goal, but going toward that goal, that the happiness is the journey. Not the remembering in the past, but the journey there and enjoying the moments. And so that's what dopamine actually comes out in. And the endorphins are naturally associated with pain relief, which is why it's so great for athletes, because when they start running or exercising and doing something more than the normal, you probably would have pain, but the body rewards you with endorphins. And you have natural pain relief. You don't need to have Percocet. You don't need to have some morphine. You don't need to have fentanyl, because your body has a natural opioid, endorphin. And then the endocannabinoids, which are associated with the calmness that people seek otherwise, the emotional balance, the resilience to stress, the pleasure, the social bonding. And all these compounds are naturally there, and they activate, and the receptors are waiting for you if you know the buttons to push. So this show is going to go over with you what buttons to push. Let's go to the next slide, engineer, and let's take a look at the champion of all, which is exercise. And I'm sure we all know about runner's high. And runner's high happens because it releases those natural mediators. In fact, exercise is the champion because it stimulates all three of those systems simultaneously. Half an hour to 3/4 of an hour of just walking briskly increases your endorphins, your endocannabinoids, and your dopamine. And for many smokers or former smokers, daily walking is one of the most effective tools to reduce the cravings that come out. So you say, well, what am I going to do? Maybe I have to get some of that gum that has medicine in it. Well, maybe you don't. Maybe you start waking up and going out with the sun and getting some nature and briskly walking, which stimulates your circulation, and getting rewarded by your body, all these systems. Even a fast walk around your neighborhood can produce quite a bit of change. Some moderate cardio. You don't have to be a marathon runner, but maybe you do some moderate cardio. Maybe you go bicycling. Maybe you swim, dancing. That's very pleasurable because then you have the music, you have the exercise, you have your partner, you have another human being exchanging with you, hiking, which normally is done with another also. All these different activities produce runner's high, which now science is believing comes from increased endocannabinoids. And how about morning sunlight? Well, yes. Probably you wonder, well, I go out in the sun and there's something that I feel. Absolutely. That morning sunlight increases dopamine, improves your circadian rhythm, which is the rhythm the body has different periods during the day, where it's active, where it's dormant, where it's sleeping. That's your circadian rhythm. It improves your mood. And 15 minutes to maybe half an hour outdoors, just walking, can improve your dopamine release. And again, it's very interesting how through evolution, the body is set up to help you and reward you with a pro-survival activity, whereas doing a negative activity, what do you get? You get addiction, a temporary high, and a permanent, I need it. I get into withdrawal. I don't feel the same if I don't take it. You lose yourself. You lose your ability to determine your life. So Buddha, let's go now to the next image. And let's take a look at some natural feel-good boosters that you see on the screen. And one, most people, they love going to concerts. They love listening to their favorite music. Well, music can generally increase what you feel. Music that you really enjoy triggers dopamine release. And it's very interesting that studies show that dopamine increases when you're waiting for a concert or you're waiting to hear your favorite song come on that CD or that USB, and that you're anticipating, and those emotional peaks that occur also with the musical peaks, which is why you can actually really feel that music is being therapeutic, which it is. Let's take a look at something that the Romans knew in the Roman Empire. Laughter. In fact, the Romans used laughter as a therapy for sadness, despondency, depression. They just had the person have more comical moments, more funny moments, more pleasure, more laughter. And what happens with the laughter? You increase the endorphins and the other hormones. In fact, a good comedy show creates quite measurable effects physiologically in your body, which changes. How about social connection? Well, the Surgeon General of the United States of America talked about social connection, and that as human beings, we're socially wired, that we don't have the same response if we're just using cell phones and media. It's not the same communication as is live with a person. So it's not just somebody's antiquated feeling, it's actually a scientific proof and truth that we are human beings and that we need that social connection to feel that high. In fact, the Surgeon General showed that if we don't have it, that we physically, not just emotionally and mentally, but that we physically suffer with diseases, with cancer, with early death, and it's equivalent to smoking 10 to 15 cigarettes a day because of the lack of social connection. Amazing, amazing, man. Dr. Vivek Murthy was the doctor, the physician, the Surgeon General of our country for 8 years. And as human beings, we're social entities. So when we get together with friends, when we hike, when we share meals together, when we have holidays together, when we have a good conversation, resolve a problem, or just talk about a problem, when you play with your grandchildren, All of these things release these hormones. And those positive interactions release the dopamine, the endorphin, and the cannabinoids, and something called oxytocin, which is called a love hormone. So when you accomplish goals, when you organize a room, when you learn a new activity, a new skill, when you're gardening, different hobby, all these things improve. Let's go to the next image, please, engineer. And, let's take a look at nature. Sometimes we forget to something such simple as going out and enjoying the trees, the flowers, the landscape, getting away from the concrete and the steel and the highways, and getting some grounding. Many groups that believe in grounding, or going and walking on the grass. And that because, the earth actually has electrical discharge. It's not imaginary. The world actually has different poles, different currents. And how does the body work? But with currents, controlled currents from the different organs and frequencies. Every organ has a different frequency. Certain foods have different frequency. That's why they're good for certain organs. It's not hypothetical. It's just that the science and the medicine is just catching up to what we're seeing. And so what can you do with nature? Well, you can garden, which is even better because now you have exercise, you have sun, you're getting into the ground, into nature. You're combining all of these things. So you have achievement also. You have a goal. You want to have something grow. You're helping something. It's very interesting sometimes that when you help others, help an animal, help a tree, help a neighborhood, that you get it back. It's very interesting in life. People say that you can reap what you sow. So let's plant the seeds and let's do that, because all of these wonderful stimulating experiences that you see there on the screen stimulate dopamine and the stress reducing pathways in our bodies naturally. Nature with green spaces actually lowers cortisol. It's true. It improves mood. It increases your feelings of well-being. Some examples that you could use, you could take and go to a park on a Sunday, which you probably do, or the beach. You can go to visit maybe some gardens or do it in your own house and create a garden. If you're in an apartment, you say, well, I can't do that. Well, you could. You can make a garden in a box garden, in your window. And even that has a effect that creates change. Why? Because you're putting life into the area. When you have something that's just technical, it doesn't have life. But when you have something like a plant or an animal, a human being, that's alive. There's a difference. It's a combination of the material with the spiritual, which we call life. And we need to create more life in our existence. So those are the things that you can do. Let's take a look now, and let's look at some different therapies. If we go to the next image, we'll talk about massage. And people have always known that touching and then touching each other, well, it increases endorphins. It increases endocannabinoids. It increases oxytocin. And it reduces your stress. It's not imaginary. And so it's an actual energy flow. Some people practice different therapies. You have the Buddhism, you have, the Qi, you have Scientology with, with their energy assists, and you have all these different endeavors of mankind and many, many more. You have the Kabbalah and the Jewish religion. And what were they all? And what are they all? But the truth of who we are, that we're human beings. And that interchange between us creates what we feel in a room when there's been an argument, or creates a great feeling of a wedding where we feel so different and act so different, and the next day say, well, what happened? What changed? Well, what changed is that the human contact went down. The goal went down. The pleasure went down because we weren't interacting as human beings. And so our stress increases. Well, what else can you do? Well, you can have a little bit of dark chocolate in moderation, because that will help to improve your dopamine and your endocannabinoid signaling. And so there you see the importance of touch. Let's go to the next image. And on this one, let's take a look at what are some things that we can do? What's something that we can adopt that if we just do this, only this one thing out of this show tonight, you've got a good daily formula to feel better. So let's look at this. What can you do? So you wake up. You don't automatically go on a cell phone or go on your computer. Go outside. Say, well, I don't have the time. I understand. Make a different schedule. Make some time. Go outside. Get some sunlight. If you can arrange to have a little more time, maybe wake up earlier to do this, and try to go for a little walking at the beginning of your day, because the day sets up what's going to happen for the rest of the day, and your mood will set up what happens the rest of that day. So now you get out with the sun, you go for a walk, you combine the exercise with the benefits of sunlight, which are many, and you can do this for half an hour, 15 minutes if you don't. If you're lucky and you can do more, you can do a brisk walk up to 45 minutes. And that time outdoors will really help you. You can, listen to some music. You can start setting some goals. It seems that the people that we look around and are very successful in our lives set goals. Michael Jordan talked about how much he actually worked out for himself, for his goals, for what he wanted. George Foreman, same thing. Really, if you look at any athlete, any great artist, if you look at the famous actors, like example, Tom Cruise, who seems like he's always exercising in some way, always creating some kind of help to people through the movies that he makes. Very interesting human being. And those goals and interacting with other people and trying to get along and having laughter and social interaction that's positive, naturally will release our dopamine, our endorphins, our endocannabinoids. And it's almost like, regardless of the religion that you believe in, regardless of your spiritual philosophy, it's almost like a higher power, which obviously we would call God, had already put these things in there naturally to help guide us. Not to force us there, but to try to motivate us to proper behavior. Very interesting. Or you could look at it that you yourself, by deciding to do good behavior, stimulate your body to do this. That's open to debate, and you can look at it and see what's real to you. So these endocannabinoids, while simultaneously lowering your cortisol, so you don't get so big, improves your stress. And for many people, exercising is the closest equivalent, because really it's the one activity, exercise is fantastic, that hits all the systems all at once. So if I can suggest anything to you in the morning, wake up, go out, walk, run, jog, go out with another person. That puts your social interaction in, and maybe eat an orange while you're doing so. And you got everything going in your favor, and see what happens. See if you don't feel better. Let's go to the next image. And while no food can produce the same large effects as exercise, there are foods that do improve all of these factors. And here you see them on the screen. Eggs, salmon, sardines, tuna, beans, lentils, almonds, pecans, cashews, avocados, chili peppers and hot peppers. We talked about the dark chocolate, the broccoli, the cruciferous vegetables, cauliflower, wasabi and horseradish, mustard, cinnamon, the fatty fishes, the omega-3s, the walnuts, the flax seeds, the olive oil, the avocados that we mentioned. All of these help tremendously in helping to improve our bodies. And to lower cholesterol, you can go with kiwis, the citrus fruits, the berries, the spinach, the avocado, the nuts, the fatty fish. And you see, it starts to just kind of revolve and come back to the same point. And if you look at that, it's interesting because if you're trying to lose weight, it'll help you to lose weight. So we're not just talking about being happy. And you start wondering, well, I'm being happy because I'm more in shape, or I'm more in tune, or I'm being more social. In reality, it's all a harmony, which is what life really is. If you look at it, it's a miracle of harmony. So those are the foods. You see them all on your screen. And very important, also, magnesium. Make sure you have enough magnesium. A magnesium powder is very good for inflammation, pain relief. Get some magnesium, also some calcium. I'd recommend some calcium magnesium powder with vitamin D3. Let's go to the next image. And on that image now, we're going to adhere to what we're ending the show on, which is we're going to do the exercise, the sunlight, the connection you see on that screen. You see the laughter on the screen, the good vibe. You see all those great foods around them. And they actually taste good. You can make smoothies. You can make salads. You can do it with fish. You can do it with different vegetables, stir fries. And they all will improve your natural high. Choose movement. Don't be sedentary. Choose foods that are good for you. Once in a while, you can cheat, as long as it's once in a while. Because I don't think once in a while it's going to kill you. Small daily habits that we talked about on this show can change the way you feel. So many people want to be happier. So many people want their businesses to do better. But how can your business do better if you come in grumpy in the morning? Your employees are not going to follow you. They're probably going to get aggravated with you and try to hassle you. So if we come in at the beginning of the day in a better mood, we're going to have more clients because people sense us. You don't even have to open your mouth. They sense you. They see you, the color in your skin. There's so many benefits to this. And these habits can change your life. Reduce your stress naturally without the pills and all the other things that are out there. And we want to end on this. Every walk, every healthy meal, every positive route that you take to live actively, to eat wisely, and enjoy your existence, you're going to get the body, the existence, the willpower, and the happiness you're always looking for. I hope you've enjoyed this segment of A Time for Truth show. It's always a pleasure to be with you and share important knowledge. If you like it, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel. It's a pleasure to be with you. Have a great week. I hope you enjoy all the information and knowledge you've gotten on this segment. Good night.
This show was sponsored by A Time for Truth Foundation Incorporated as a community service.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got. But the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your feet